First at 4, a mother and child trapped in a burning home on Detroit's west side were on the scene of an attempted rescue, and sadly, one victim did not make it. We're also tracking a key step forward in the battle against COVID-19, but here at home, more disappointment for college sports fans. Paula, what are you working on?
Well, a significant number of students have fallen off the enrollment radar across the state. What this means to these students, what this means to these school districts, and what this means to us. Hi, Ben.
Hey, Paula, we still can't find the sunshine, but we've got plenty of mild temperatures on the way. 50 degrees in sight, and so is some snow. We'll look at it all right now, first at 4.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
That breaking news happening on Detroit's west side, where a woman and young child were pulled from a burning home. That woman has died, and there's much more to the story as investigators start digging. Let's go to live with Priya Mann, who has been speaking with fire and police. What have you found out, Priya?
Well, Karen, sadly, we found out that woman was shot in the back of the head, and that little boy is in critical condition with severe burns all over his body. Detectives have been here for a few hours now. That fire started around 12:30 this afternoon. A Detroit police officer driving in the area saw the smoke, and when she got here, fire crews were already on scene. They pulled a woman and a little boy who's about 4 or 5 years old from the burning home. That Detroit cop started performing CPR on the boy. The child and the woman were rushed to the hospital, where the woman later died. This is now a homicide investigation. Police say the fire is suspicious, but there were no obvious signs of accelerants. As police work to identify the woman, they say this case is especially troubling.
Extremely troubling. It's one thing to have adults have issues, but you have a young child that also in that home. So to think that someone could possibly have set this fire is extremely troubling for me.
Now, it does appear as though that woman and the child lived at that home. That boy, again, in the hospital in critical condition with severe burns all over his body. Detroit police asking anyone with information to give them a call. Reporting on Detroit's west side, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Priya. We'll check back with you tonight at 5. We also do have some breaking news connected to the coronavirus crisis, from scenes of great hope in Great Britain to another disappointing cancellation here in Michigan. New this afternoon, the University of Michigan has canceled this weekend's game against Ohio State. The rivalry is legendary, but U of M says it's seen more COVID cases and more student athletes in quarantine. We're told the team still has not been cleared to practice. Now the game is off. Bernie Smilovitz will be here at 5 with more on the cancellation and what's next for the Wolverines. The state of Michigan is still adjusting to life under a partial shutdown. Governor Whitmer made that extension official yesterday. Tomorrow, the Michigan High School Athletic Association will meet to decide its next step. High school sports remain on hold until at least December 20th, which could mean the playoffs are canceled. Today, the state reported another 5,900 new cases. Also, another 191 deaths have been reported, including 79 from a vital records review. Those are some of the numbers the state health department is watching to see when current restrictions can be lifted. Now, scenes of hope from overseas. Today, Great Britain became the first Western country to start administering the Pfizer vaccine to at-risk populations. The very first person to get the shot was Margaret Keenan, who turns 91 next week. She's urging others to get vaccinated.
I would say go for it. Go for it because it's free and it's the best thing that's ever happened at the moment. So please go for it. That's all I say, you know. If I can do it, well, so can you.
The British government is targeting more than 25 million people, about 40% of its population, for that first phase of its vaccination program. The FDA will meet in just 2 days to consider an emergency use authorization for the Pfizer vaccine in the U.S. President Donald Trump held an event celebrating Operation Warp Speed's efforts to get a vaccine ready. He also signed an executive order directing the Health and Human Services Department to make sure Americans have first access to the vaccine. There was a Warp Speed summit this afternoon, but no one from the Biden administration was invited. Here's what the president had to say about that.
We're going to have to see who the next administration is, but whichever the next administration is will really benefit by what we've been able to do with this incredible science, the doctors, all of the people that came up, the lab technicians, the work that's been done is incredible. And it will be incredible for the next administration. And hopefully the next administration will be the Trump administration, because you can't.
Now, we should note, so far, President Trump has been unsuccessful in his efforts to overturn any election results. While President Trump was speaking, the president-elect was introducing his public health team to the country. Joe Biden calls them their fields. The nominees include California Attorney General Xavier Becerra to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Biden says masking, vaccinations, and opening schools are his three major goals in the first 100 days in office. Inauguration Day is January 20th. Breaking news just into our newsroom. Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan is extending the moratorium on residential water shutoffs, and that's through 2022. So far, the city has spent $22 million in payment assistance and major plumbing repairs since March 9th. Existing state, federal, and charitable funds will allow the Detroit Water and Sewage Department to continue helping residents maintain water service. Low-income residents can join the program by contacting Wayne Metropolitan Community Action Agency. All right, moving to the first forecast. If you were here yesterday, Ben told us things would warm up this week, but it's not that warm yet. So we're asking you, Ben, where did things stand?
Baby steps, Karen. We're getting a little bit today. We'll get a big jump tomorrow, and then we're on our way to 50 by the time the weekend approaches. But we're going to get some sunshine in here too, just not today. Look outside and it's still a lot of clouds, very similar to how yesterday looked. Current temperatures pretty much mid-30s all across the area. Wind chills are in the upper 20s, so there's about a 10 to 15 mile an hour wind taking a bite out of things as we speak. The weather impacts, though, generally are going to be pretty low here in the coming days, Wednesday through Friday. Dry conditions until Friday night, and that leads into a soaker of a weekend. We've got plenty of rain coming on Saturday. Even some snow coming on Sunday. So we'll look at that, when those warmer temperatures will finally arrive, and what's coming on the backside of that weekend system. All in just a few minutes. Karen?
All right. Thank you, Ben. Now, let's talk about school enrollment. On average, nearly 4% of students who enrolled this time last year are nowhere to be found, and that percentage is bigger in some districts. It really is a frightening double whammy, as that dip puts the students and school funding at risk. Paula Tutman joins us this afternoon. And Paula, you warned us this might happen, and now here we are.
Yeah, you know what? This is deeply concerning, and administrators across the state are saying, where are they? You gave the average of students who are missing from classrooms, but it goes from between 1 and 10%. And that is significant in how it will change the way Michigan is able to actually educate children post-pandemic. You remember the Detroit Public Schools Community District sent volunteers to comb the streets looking for students. That district is still missing as many as 5% of its students. Riverview and River Rouge are missing 1%. Southgate and Wayne Westland are missing 7%. Dr. Randy Liepa is the superintendent over all of Wayne County.
There's just a certain number of students that are off the radar now, and so again, a priority for our districts has been trying to find out where they're at.
The enrollment decline is not likely largely based on cherry-picking districts, based on whether parents want in-person options or want to opt into remote learning. And so there's a guessing game.
Well, long-term concerns is any student that has not been in school, we've got that much more catch-up to do in regards to getting them into school and then getting them caught up on the learning that they've missed.
In the Walled Lake District in Oakland County, the story is similar, and so are the concerns. Kenneth Gutman wears two hats as the Walled Lake Consolidated Schools superintendent and vice president of the newly named K-12 Alliance in Michigan that represents 5 counties and some 500,000 students in more than 100 school districts.
In many cases throughout the area, they're not choosing to notify the district where they're now attending. And they may not be with an affiliated homeschool group. They may just be at home.
Secondarily, but only by a smidge, is the per pupil funding issue. Because of a waiver from Lansing lawmakers that forgives as much as a 25% reduction in enrollment without losing funding, that waiver is not in place for next year as it is this year, which means if districts don't find and return these students to the class by fiscal year 2021, district funding could actually be destroyed.
I think eviscerating a school district or a number of school districts is a real possibility depending on the number of students they've lost.
So if you're a school district with 10,000 students, that means you'd be down about 400 students. And if you multiply that by the student formula, you'd have about $3 million less in revenue. We need to be providing more support for students moving forward, not less.
Yeah, and so this is really critical, pardon me for that. What parents can do to help your school district and to help it survive, actually, is to let these districts know if you have your child at home or you've moved districts, let them know so they at least know where that student is, Karen.
All right, thank you very much, Paula. Attention shoppers, big retail news ahead. A struggling department store is getting another chance at survival. We'll talk about that. Plus, ready for takeoff, a major airline unveils a new program for passengers traveling to states with strict COVID restrictions. What you can do at home before you fly. And up first, another twist in the battle over TikTok. It's looking less and less likely President Trump will get what he wants. Stay right here.
The best Christmas tree tips you've ever seen.
You want to make sure they're good, stiff branches.
Next, Inside Edition.
Coming up next on Inside Edition on Local 4. Want people to see your great holiday display? Watch Ben's Holiday Lights on Local 4 News at 11. Go to Click on Detroit to enter. Sponsored by Magic of Lights at DTE Energy Music Theater.